on a positive note. Most Americans approve of his presidential transition handling. Here with me now to break it all down. Remember, I told you someone has the best Sunday show in the business. It's that gentleman right there, Chris Stirewalt.
It's mine?
Host of the Hill Sunday, senior fellow at the American Enterprises.
Isn't that fine? Okay. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of loose talk about a CBS News poll, which is mid.
Okay.
It's an online poll. We don't like to use it too much.
All right.
What we do like to use is the Pew Research Center. It's a primo polling. How do people feel about Donald Trump? They cold, very cold. Ooh, 42% warm, 9% neutral. Okay, so that's not super, but look at this.
Okay.
Look at Trump then and now. When he was coming into office the first time, 41% approval for his transition. 2024, 53. That's a 12-point bounce.
It's a big movement.
Yeah, it's a big movement. It's a different country.
Right.
It's a different Donald Trump. It's a different circumstance. But we thought, let's put it in perspective, because that's what we do.
Yep.
So how does this compare to where Joe Biden was when he was replacing Donald Trump? A little lower, 5 points. That's not that much lower.
Right.
And of course, we have to remember the country was in a pandemic and people were sick.
Yep.
Okay, but how does it compare over time? Trump beats himself, but comes in behind. And look at that.
Wow.
Barack Obama. But now let's add it in. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of the century and look at all the way back to George W. Bush for Ashley Davis. We'll throw it in. George W. Bush, 58%. So you see, Trump is now what we'll call in the normal range. He came in the abnormal range 8 years ago. Now he's coming in what is basically the normal range. But here's something to remember.
Okay.
How did Obama get that 72%? How did Biden do that? Because things were really, 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 really bad.
Yep, the great financial crisis for Barack Obama.
The financial panic of 2008, which torched everybody's 401k, rocked their housing market, did all of that stuff. The higher your number here, and this is something to remember, the higher your number here, you could also think of this as an expectation score, right? Okay. So you come in with high expectations. People say, he's going to make everything better. He's going to do it all. You got to deliver. Joe Biden went from 58 to 38 in a lot less time than he meant to because people didn't think that he was delivering on those promises. So that is the debt that an incoming president owes. It's good to have a bounce, but it's also what you owe.
Let me ask you a question. So I'm looking at Donald Trump, 53%. And at the popular vote, he was at about 49%, give or take. Is that delta there just polling noise, or is that folks saying, okay, maybe I didn't vote for you, but I see what you're doing and I'm with it?
So the question Pew's asking here is, do you approve of the transition? How do you think the transition is going? And what Donald Trump has done this time, Matt Gaetz, sorry, but with the couple of exceptions, people have said, oh, this seems to be okay. This seems to be all right. If you remember 8 years ago, the person most surprised in the United States that Donald Trump won the presidency was Donald Trump. They had no transition. There was a mess, and they were trying to fix it. They were trying to repair the engine on the car while they were driving down the interstate. This time, he has a plan and he has people.
You know what one of the differences, too, this time? Because I remember being there in Trump Tower in the lobby last time. It was like, oh, who just went up the elevator? Who just came down the elevator? And it was all on camera.
Last time was a reality show. This time there's more discipline and order.
More discipline, order, much different. Stirewalt breaks it down. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.